I called it almost immediately and I was like,
Good evening. We're going to call the January 23rd, 2024 Clover Garden School Board of Directors meeting to order. Ms. Veraken, role and mission.
Role of the board, we're entrusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission, Clover Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review tonight's agenda? Any additions or changes? Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Mr. Huffine, second. Mr. Russell, all in favor? Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from November 14th, 2023? Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the November 14th, 2023? Ms. Foster, second. Ms. Russell, all in favor? Ms. Veraken, do we have any public comment tonight?
No, ma'am.
Okay, it moves us into finances. Ms. Simmons, any comments on the budgets?
No, and we were able to reconcile December, so that's in there. So November 2023 and December 2023 budgets are in there for your approval and was in there for your review.
Has everyone had a chance to review the November and December 2023 budgets? Is there any questions, comments, issues? Do I have a motion to approve the November and December 2023 budgets? Ms. Merle, second. Ms. Russell, all in favor? Thank you. Moves us to academics. Critical updates. Mrs. Spencer, Mr. Feldman, who's going first tonight?
So I'm going to go first and then I'm going to introduce our special guest tonight. So representing K-8, we have the second grade team. They have a presentation, and following our second grade team, we'll have Mr. Graham representing the mentorship program.
Great.
Thank you.
yeah, I saw it today. Yeah. And that's down there for yeah.
All right, I'm Ms. Viandorf, or as the kids call me, Ms. V. This is Ms. McGregor and Ms. Ellis. And we just wanted to share with you guys some of the fun stuff we've been doing. Some collaborative learning we did right before the holidays. We did Christmas around the world with third grade. So we're just gonna share some of those pictures and some of the stuff we learned. Our goal with this was to provide more student-based teaching and learning for students. So the third graders actually came into the second grade classrooms and taught the lesson. To provide more confidence throughout the grade level. So them getting up in front, they're working on those leadership skills. And then collaboration, they work together as a class to come up with the lesson. And then leadership opportunities for the third grade students as well. So we did a total of 3 rotations, the first being Kwanzaa. And this are some pictures from the Kansas third grade class explaining how and why people around the world celebrate Kwanzaa. The students created a candle during this, and they also learned a song. For Hanukkah, they came in and we made dreidels. They learned a song from Hanukkah, and they also learned about some of the food and famous games that they played.
And lastly, we had Christmas. They came in and told us about the story of Christmas, and then we created and designed Christmas trees for the students to take home.
All right, and then this last slide is just some supports needed that we figured we'd share with you guys. We've actually already put in with PTT for the literacy footprints, but just having a uniform literacy program for K2, I think would be very helpful. And then subs, I don't know if y'all heard about that. I put TA per grade level, but really the reason we have a TA, but a lot of times she's pulled. So the real problem is stemming from a low amount of subs that we have to pull from. And then increased planning periods. Of course, we never have enough time in the day to get what we need done, planning, copies, and all that.
Oh,
we have a cute little song for you guys.
This is where they sung us "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." I don't know if I'm gonna play. Sorry for the call.
Yeah. From the video.
Is it not gonna connect this down?
He's gonna plug it. I think the other one has to be plugged in.
I don't think it's been fun.
Oh, that was so cute.
Okay, well, unplug it and I can play it so you can at least hear it.
Thought you were gonna sing it live.
Well, you're not gonna be able to hear anything.
Yeah, it's hard. They were all very brave, saying the songs too. Brave of the week. And that's all we have. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank
And now,
Hello, everyone. You doing well? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Adrian Graham. I manage the front office and security at the high school, but I started right here on the campus. And I'm missing it. But I want to thank Mr. Feldman for giving us an opportunity to share some what's going on with the mentorship program. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Rakin for giving me the green light to start the program. I won't go into detail how it started, but know this, that our mentors go through a screening process, interview process, training. They sign a confidentiality agreement. And once they pass all of that, we pair them with lower classmen. We are into our third year. We've had some challenges, but being at the other campus, logistics, transportation, scheduling, but we kind of tweaked it a little bit, so it's kind of working out. And I think some of the parents that are new to the school, they're not familiar with the program. So hopefully they'll get wind of what's going on and we can increase our attendance. But I want to spend most of the time, most of my time, letting you speak to one of our mentors, Callie Lynn Wade. She's a senior. This is her second year in the program and she is top notch. And I've always encouraged my mentors to speak freely, speak from the heart, so you can get an idea of what our program is about, because it's because of them that we're successful. So without further ado, Callie Lynn.
Hello, everyone. As you just learned, my name is Callie Wade. I'm a senior here at Covent Garden. I've been attending since Covent Garden had the pre-K program, so around 13 years. I've been part of the mentorship program for 2 years, and where I have not only been a mentor, but also secretary as well. I'm going to be completely honest with you that junior me signing up for this club, I just wanted to add another club to my college. It was a club that I had to be fully invested in. It would require a lot of time and it showed great leadership roles. Plus it provided an opportunity for an officer role. But little did I know at that time that this club would actually become a very big part of my life and mean a lot to me. During my time in the mentorship club, I have had 3 mentees, all of which have been very different and have faced different trials and tribulations. Sometimes their situations have stumped me, where I have no clue what they should do and I have to think about the best course of action to take. Other times it's a classic middle or high school experience in drama where I can freely give them advice. After all, as their mentor, I get to guide them through situations that I have faith in and offer opinions and my amazing advice. I get to be the person I wish I had when I was navigating the dangers of teen girl drama and boy problems, helping with trying to figure out what I wanted my academic journey to look like. It is truly an incredible feeling when your mentee comes to you with a problem and they think of their own solution that you can tell is a result of you mentoring them. Or when your mentee stops you in the hall because they just want your opinion on something real quick. It is also absolutely heartwarming watching your mentee's confidence in themselves grow over the year as they reiterate the things you said to them. For example, I've heard one say that, yeah, they stopped talking to me, but it's okay because that just means they weren't meant to stay in my life. And that seems more like a them problem than a me problem. After all, I'm pretty good. I've heard mentors mention how their mentee is more like a sibling than a mentee. In fact, my own mentees say that I'm like their big sister or the big sister that they had. These kids often rely on us in the mentorship club and treat us as their own siblings, minus all the fighting that usually comes with it. At the end of the 2023 school year, many of us with mentees in middle and elementary school were devastated to learn that they could not be our mentees for the 2024 school year. I remember tearing up when I told my middle school mentee this information last year. A lot of the mentees in the program need stability in their lives, and us mentors were them. We consistently saw them, and they knew they could depend on us. We are a person they could turn to when they needed help or when they just need to get something off their chest. While many of us understood the need for the new Clover Garden campus, we were disappointed when we learned that we would not be allowed to drive to the elementary and middle school campus to meet with the kids who needed our help there. Recently, we were informed that we could drive to the elementary campus, but only after our CGS classes were over. While this is an understandable idea, many of the mentors have a giant gap in our schedule from where our first CGS class starts to when our last ends. A lot of us also have jobs right after that last class and would not be able to stop by the elementary campus just for play, to talk to a mentee and still make it to work on time. However, hopefully an ideal conclusion can be reached for this troubling situation before we let out for the school year. The mentorship club means a lot to those of us in it, and we hope that the school recognizes how important the club is to it as well. I hope the school realizes that we don't just meet with these kids and joke around or gossip with them, that we actually make a difference in their lives and try our best to change their attitude around for the better. My mom always told me how I have the potential to change the world. However, I think this is a bit of a stretch. The mentorship club has taught me that simply meeting with someone for 15 minutes a week changes a person's outlook they have on the world, and therefore changes their entire world.
Thank you, Mrs. Graham. And definitely just, I just want to say, being on this end in the K-8 world, we do recognize the importance and the impact that the mentorship program has had. So kudos to Mr. Graham and that effort. We need it. We miss you guys. And so I'll go ahead and continue on, and then we'll switch over and I'll hand it over to Mr. Feldman. But we just want to always begin with some honors and thank you recognitions here. So we had homecoming. We're in this our January meeting, so we're looking kind of back at December, right? So we just want to give a public shout out to Coach Pascal and her team for getting our homecoming. Are you up for homecoming 2023? Going. It was a great experience all throughout the building, all the festivities and fun going on there, but it also takes a lot of planning and preparation. So we really appreciate that. In addition to Coach Pascal with homecoming, we had some winter concerts. So we had Ms. Ballard, Mr. Harper, and Ms. Engel. Also want to shout them out and thank them for their efforts in planning those events for us there. One other moment that we had that we were able to participate in as a staff was our annual Christmas celebration, and that was sponsored by PTT, and so we thank them for that. And I think even being in there, just seeing everyone together at once, and some of the people in this room, I won't call out the administrators, were cutting up a little bit. A good time, a good feel, just to all be back together. So that was great. And then other moment that we would like to just give some honor and recognition to is Mrs. Ray and our parent volunteers for the Santa Store this year. With the Santa Store, and the kids always look forward to it, but we had record sales this year, and so I think that's pretty amazing, that effort that, with the planning, but then also the parental support piece. And so it was over $3,000 that was raised, so that is awesome, that goes right back to the community. So definitely want to honor them there. So thank you for that opportunity. So I'm going to move down with some academic focus. So we've heard from the second grade, we're looking at curriculum and instruction. Right now, we have had the opportunity to focus on supporting and equipping our teachers through professional development opportunities. And I'm just going to highlight two moments. One being that all of our teaching staff just completed their second quarter PE, professional development, requirement focused around data literacy. And so we're really trying to dig into understanding the data or data, whatever you how you pronounce, and the correlation to our instructional practices. And so that's kind of really where we are when we're looking at students, where they are and what they need to know, but then how do we use that data effectively in the classroom. In addition to that, our PE department at the end of November, early December, had the opportunity to participate in the NC Shape Conference. And so that was an opportunity provided to people that are in athletics, health, physical education, recreation, dance, professionals, and the mission, I just want to read this mission to you, is to provide advocacy, professional development, and unity for health, physical education, recreation, dance, and athletic professionals and students in order to enhance and promote health for North Carolinians. And so I wanted to, kind of point out, because the PE department came back and they were fired up. And so one of our teachers, like stopped me in the hall multiple times, like just really pouring out the impact. And so she ordered some things from the resources and teaching and learning experience that she's had that she's getting ready to implement here coming soon. So I'm not going to spoil it, but the level of excitement and even some of other opportunities that can be extended across the grade level. So that is definitely exciting there. So that's our professional development. We'll hear a little bit more from Ms. Reagan, but right now I'm going to turn over to Mrs. Whitfield. Do you want to speak to us on MTSS?
So MTSS, we were able to speak with our DPI representative recently as a team, and she did our FANS survey with us, where we kind of got a little checks and balances on how our MTSS team was doing. And so we're able to step back and regroup as a team and develop our processes from now and how we want to take a step forward with our high school and our elementary and middle school team now, and just kind of restructure and figure out how we want to implement it here at CGS. We have a process in place, but how do we want to go from here? So with our checks and balances. So other than that, we're just going to continue the process that we have in place for right now. So we'll move on. Okay, as Ms. Spencer said, we've been looking at correlating everything into one school year and looking at all of our plans. I spoke a little bit about this in October for the high school level, and tonight I want to talk a little bit more about some of the things Ms. Spencer and I have worked with at the K-8 campus right there. So just to kind of refresh y'all's memory and kind of correlate it back to the K-8 campus, at the beginning of the year, we set professional development goals for the school as a whole, K-12, and then we departmentalized that into the K-8 having a goal for their system and the high school having a goal for them, and then teachers also have individual professional development goals. And as an administration, we try to look at what professional development needs does the staff have in order to help support them in those areas. So as Ms. Spencer just mentioned, the NISA system of the teacher evaluation offers free professional development. And over the summer, we look at all of those courses that they offer and kind of narrow that down to what our school says and the improvement plan that we have in place, and how we want to set forth and grow more as a school based on all of those indicators. So we look at the PDP alignment for the K-8 campus is to make sure that they're revising curriculum units and math and lesson plans to make sure that that has reflective and constructive feedback provided by administration, as well as student data, which we'll talk a little bit about tonight. And then that our teachers are reflecting on their teaching practices in terms of what that data means from their students, as well as what it means from them in their teaching. We also look at the school improvement plan and how, administration monitors that curriculum and what types of support that I can, as well as other support staff can do in order to help support our teachers in increasing that data, as well as the teachers' evaluation in their own reflective practices. So Ms. Spencer mentioned that we looked at data. We did hold a professional development class in November for the K-8 teachers, where we looked at different types of data, understanding what types of data that a teacher can have in their classroom for their students to gain a better understanding of where their students are at. How do we use that data to drive our instruction on a daily basis? How does that role and power of that data impact what we do with our students? We also looked at the 3 A's of data, the assessment. So what are we testing our students on and how? How do we analyze that? And then what's our course of action once we realize where our students are located? And then we also like to collaborate with others in terms of grade level, grade sets, which are like K2, 3, 8, and then 6, 8, or excuse me, K2, 3, 5, and 6, 8. And then they also were awarded a CEU setting. So looking at the culture and framework of assessment and data-driven instruction, we look at, again, the red part, which is what assessment is occurring, what do we need to do in the future, how do we analyze that, and then what is our course of action going to be taken in place of what to do with that data for our students. And we talked about a little bit of things here. How do we decide to change? How do we reflect back on that? How do we determine what our goals are and meeting them? How to get engagement, how to identify, and then how to promote that reflection. We looked, Ms. Spencer and I looked at the check-in one data. I met with every teacher that gave a check-in in grades 3 through 8 in ELA, reading and science. We analyzed that data for ELA, science, and math. These are just kind of summaries of that. And Ms. Spencer has come up with the Grizzly pathway, our pathway of purpose. I'm not as good at the acronyms as she is. I'll leave that to her. But it's providing assistance to help students win all year. And that's really what our big why is. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we here? Where do we need to go? And how are we going to get there? So with that, we're going to look at teachers and selected staff. We want to provide instructional support for all of our students, especially in grades 6, 7, and 8 in math, because that was where we saw we needed the most support in areas of growth for our students. We wanted to look at any student that was characterized non-proficient, and that doesn't mean just on the check-in. It was by standard. So the data that we get back from the state for all of our check-ins goes question by question, standard by standard, and is really able to let our teachers know what exactly is it in the classroom that we need to revise and remediate our students with. So I sit down with every teacher, we look at that data specific for their classroom, and then we analyze a plan of action in order to take that with their students in small groups, as well as remediating things for the future. So during these sessions, students will rise, which is review, revisit any math concepts and standards that they didn't master, implement those strategies for success, show growth towards their mastery, and also engage in their positive self-efficacy and work ethic. So these are the 3 grade levels that we're going to target. First, we're going to look at math in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We looked at the check-in data, and across the board, geometry was the lowest performing in the area of growth needed most for our students. So that's where we're going to begin. We're going to take 30-minute sessions twice a week with select students for this specific standard. And then after they show mastery in that, we'll select another standard and select a new group of students. So target areas next, and our next approach is, as you all know, we are fully immersed in our second check-in. We are also going to analyze that for all of those tested areas for science, math, and ELA in grades 3 through 8. And we are going to look at other areas of growth. So if you're not familiar, math is not as cumulative as ELA is. ELA, you're testing all the standards, which is about all the check-ins. The only thing that's really changing besides maybe 1 or 2 standards is the rigor and the Lexile level. for those particular check-ins where math is a little more compartmentalized. So what they test in the first check-in, they won't necessarily check in on the next check-in or test on the next one and the next one. So we are still gonna remediate, especially with math, but then we're gonna move forward in our other things so that we can make sure that our students are gonna rise to that. Any questions?
Hello all, I'm Coach Pascal, and usually I come and give just a generalized overview of athletics, but today I really want it to be more specific with what's going on and what we're doing and some really good things that are, actually our middle school boys basketball team is doing. So, really quickly, I have just a really quick slideshow of some pictures, and then I'm gonna introduce you to someone from our staff. There we go. Okay, so I just wanted to, like I said, just flip through a couple pictures and then I'm gonna have them explain exactly what's going on. It's a little blurry, but this is our middle school boys basketball team. And we're gonna see that they actually, went out into the community to, visit with some assisted living and, memory care. So I just wanted to give you a couple of this right before Christmas. They were in their warm-ups, they brought, goodie bags, basketballs, and they met with, all sorts of different people throughout. And, we even had a couple of these, and then really quick, it's not gonna have sound, but this is actually our guys singing Christmas carols with the residents as well. So with all that being said, I just wanted to, I don't want to steal, Coach Pittman's thunder, but I have invited, Coach Justin Pittman. He is our new middle school boys basketball coach this year. And I think it's needs to be noted that this is his first year with us, and the impact and the amount our boys have grown since he's been present is just unreal, how many lives and how many boys' lives he's changing. He's making them grow as students first and as athletes, but even more as community members. So I just wanted to invite him and have him give his little spiel of what exactly he's doing with his team in the community.
I'm sorry.
Thank y'all. Thank you for having me. I am, just said I'm Coach Pittman. So first year is the middle school boys basketball team. So, first appreciate everything you guys do, taking time out of your day to be here. You know, I know the sacrifice it is having practice, leaving the house, leaving the family, you guys are doing it. So I'm grateful for it. Couple topics. If I read the directions right, I think I have 3 minutes, so I'll try and speed through it. Cause I would like to put my guys in a, not comfortable spot, have them say a little bit if I can. So 4 topics I want to cover are, I'll review as a team, our 4 key pillars that we emphasize. I'll speak a little bit about the Christmas event that was just shown. I want to talk about, as leaders, the impact we can have on the students and as young kids in the middle school. And then I'll end it with a call to action to each of you. So the 4 things we'll go over. Our 4 key pillars are in line with the mission that I read online on the paper here. We said it before the meeting started, and it's on the wall. It's posted out. The 4 areas we emphasize as competitors, we have to win at, we have to excel at, we have to grow at, we have to lead at. They start in the classroom. So part of being on a member of the middle school basketball team and wearing the uniform, wearing the jersey and the requirement I have is we excel and we lead in the classroom. We set the example as student athletes. We want to be the reflection of what that means. So each of our students sit in the front. The requirement is sit in the front of the class, be active, hold your grades to a minimum level. So we have to win, we have to excel in the classroom first. Community is the second pillar. We have to excel and lead in the community, right? And we have done that through this Christmas event. We do it through reaching out. We try to be more than an athlete, just putting our head down and just playing basketball and picking up a ball and scoring, which we oftentimes don't do a great job at that anyway. So we really have to lead and make a difference in the community. The third one is on the court. So obviously as basketball players, we have to grow. We have to grow in the sport, we have to learn it. And I don't mean that in just scoring points. I don't mean that in just winning games, scoring points. We have to grow. We have to learn how to play as a team, how to take the individual out of it and play for each other. We have to learn to be leaders, right? And that's something at this age that we're really trying to emphasize. We struggle with, but we're learning it. So we have to continue to grow. So I got classroom, community, and court. And the last one is at home. You know, we have to be leaders at home. You know, we have to grow away from mom and dad doing it for us and us, you know, becoming young men. You know, right? I've said it to these guys time and time again. I came in October and I was handed young boys, I was handed kids. In February, I'll give them back as young men. You know, that was the task, the ownership that these parents have trusted me with. So I take it with great responsibility. I'm going to allow my players to come up in a second and talk about our community event, but just a rundown of it. So over Christmas break through the holidays, we've partnered with Alamance House in Burlington, Memory Care Assisted Living side. They have 2 sections to it. Players wore their jerseys. We showed up. We gave out basketballs. We explained, each player introduced themselves, what we do, represent Clover Garden. We got to meet each of the residents one-on-one, you know. So what was really cool about it is I went there. I have a tendency to put these guys in uncomfortable situations so they grow, right? It's the only way they grow is take them outside of their comfort zone. And so I challenged them with getting to know a resident, getting to know who they are, a little bit about them. I thought they would sit back in the section and I do all the talking, like what happens at practice. I turned around and there were students down on a knee, you know, getting to know people, holding their hands, giving them a basketball, giving them a hug, things like that. They really bought into it. And it was the coolest thing we've done through the year. You know, we've won games, we've hit a buzzer beater, but seeing them in the community was the coolest, most fulfilling thing we've done all year. So, you know, the residents at Alamance House were really grateful, and we were grateful for them. So we let them know they oftentimes get forgotten about, but not from us, you know. So when they pick a newspaper up and they see Clover Garden Middle School, we want them to see these guys' faces. So, you know, we're a reflection, play a small part, but make a big difference. We represent Clover Garden. So those are our 4 pillars: classroom, community, court, and at home. As far as the impact we have on young kids, you know, I joined this middle school level thinking basketball. You know, like we'll play games, we'll play basketball, we'll win games. That's what it's based around. And I saw how vulnerable the middle school age is, right? They're going through a lot of changes. They're trying to figure themselves out. They're trying to figure out how to be leaders, how to step outside of their comfort zone. So I'll push them in that. We make a huge impact. Us in the room make a huge impact on what goes on. You know, and you guys are in here making some really big decisions. And we all respect that and thank for what you do. It is on us once we leave this room, the impact that these decisions have. You know, so some of the important stuff you guys discuss and go through, its impact within young men like this right here. So we're grateful and we entrust you guys in what you do. I've got a note here for the importance of showing up. We talk about investment. We talk about investment and people buying into what they're doing, right? It's no longer just mom and dad who support you. It's a community, it's a school. It's people you don't even know showing up to support you. We've had people invest in us financially. You know, our athletic boosters really help us out. We're grateful for them. People invested financially, people invested by showing up. And that's the biggest thing we can do is show up for these kids. You know, they need consistency. They need people showing up for them. I use the example all the time. I was not the greatest in school. You know, I wasn't the greatest. I wasn't the A student. I don't remember many teachers' names I had in high school, college, middle school level. I can tell you my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Justice. Miss Justice taught social sciences. And the reason I remember her name is because she came to one of my sporting events outside of school. You know, it was Little League baseball at the time. She showed up for it, right? So I didn't have a passion for her class. Didn't really know what's going through the motions. She showed up to my baseball game. I became an A student in her class. I all of a sudden gained an interest and went top soul and compost score. I say that, the importance of us showing up for these kids, it makes a difference. It makes an impact. When they see, you know, My wife is a school teacher. I have appreciation for everyone in the education field. I know and I've seen firsthand the importance it takes for showing up and the impact you guys have when these guys look in the stands and they see a familiar face. Like when they know a teacher cares about them more than what their grade is in a class and they care about them as an individual, it makes a huge difference. So I'll leave you guys with this, my call to action I told you about. And before they get up here, we can speak impact and we can make decisions in this room, but what we do outside of here is where the difference is made. So I ask all of you in here to, invest in these young men, show up for these young men, grow these young men. We have our final home game next Thursday at 5:15. So my call to action is exactly what it is. We've got a game at 5:15. I would love to see some familiar faces in here. And I know these guys would. I want to put transparency. You guys are transparent to them. We're transparent to you guys. So I want them to see the decision makers and the ones who have impacts on them, because you guys are doing the right things, as well as I challenge these guys and I trust they are as well. So my call to action is I'll see you guys Thursday. It's our final game. It's our final home game. Hopefully we end on a good note, but I'm going to challenge my guys, because again, uncomfortable situations is where growth is. And speaking and presenting in front of people is not always the easiest, but we'll get better at it, right? So I know I carried over 3 minutes. I hope you guys clocked pros. That's fine. That's fine. Just do it. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Well, I gotta go in.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Hunter Cottle, and we support the community, and we try to make everybody like not be forgot and the holidays and everything. And we just try to keep a hold of our standard and make sure to make high up here, not low. And sorry guys. We just want to make everybody happy, feel like they're cared about. And cared about and not forgot. And yeah.
Yeah, next
It's a lot of people. Hi, my name's Hunter Gillen. I've learned a lot this year from October. I see the ways that I've evolved, just in the 2 months that I've been with Coach Ben. I mean, I've learned how to fight through adversity, on and off the court. I mean, off the court, we got kids at school, want to be mean, grades. And then on the court, I mean, we got teams that are the NBA, we gotta fight through that. We gotta stick together as a team. I've also learned leadership, and Coach Pittman has given me many opportunities to be a leader. Like last night, we played the Burlington School, and I got to coach the first quarter, so that was a little nerve-wracking like it is right now. But he said I did good, so I guess I did good. That's all I had to say. I really good.
Good job.
And thank you all again for allowing us to come in and really show, it's beyond a court and a playing surface, that it's actually way bigger than that. That's just a small piece of it. So I appreciate you allowing us the time to come and show, what all is going good in athletics. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach, for the community service. That's great.
Thank y'all again.
Thank you.
There's two more, bullets under the K-8, under community culture and climate, so athletics, as you all heard. So I'll just touch briefly on health and safety. Again, we are continuing in review and revision. I think, Hunter said it, Brady was talking about, he said, use the word evolve. And that's just, we're evolving. We are involved, evolving. And so we realize, So this is a good thing. We realize, that since we no longer have the shuttle running, we have more cars, right? Which is a great problem because we don't have the shuttle because the high school building is completed. However, as we are, reviewing, that process and those procedures, we have made some adjustments to both morning and afternoon, car ride line, processes. And so I know it seems almost petty or just kind of a minuscule issue, but it's a big thing because it's about safety. So I just wanted to, publicly say, we've made some adjustments. Parents have responded pretty positively. We've had a few questions here and there. But that comes with the process, right? But definitely I wanted to let you all hear that the responsiveness is there as we're partnering with parents to make sure that our students as well as staff are safe. So we have seen things like passing, and so some of it is because they haven't always been car rider drivers. And so I think at this point we're getting there, but I just wanted to say that because that is an area I feel like easily where we can be vulnerable, in terms of an incident happening. But I just wanted to mention that, and the efforts of the staff members as well. So that's my spill on the health and safety for now. Of course, we are always revisiting and reviewing procedures and practice of, our protocols. And I'm going to pass it right back to Ms. Whitfield, and then we're going to wrap up for K-8. Thank you.
So for student life, we've had several concerts. We had dance and guitar, and then we wanted to shout out to our band as well, because they were one of the only bands to participate in one of our local parades. So that was a huge shout out to them. And then we've also implemented, right after the break, a no phone policy, for us. So we have that if you guys wanted to take a look at that. It is going well, very well. Our students have taken note of that, and they're holding each other accountable for that also. So it is going well in our middle school, especially the referrals for that piece and the drama for that piece have come down quite a bit. So big kudos to them, I guess. And then current and upcoming, you'll see several things taking place on here, such as grade level assemblies, EC night. Our dessert for principals is listed for January. We did have to postpone that. It's just been rescheduled for the beginning of February. And then the major thing on here is our school choice week, assembly, which is coming up. So that'll tie in right into the high school piece of it. Because we've been selected as an all-star school. We've received a leadership award from the National School Choice Week organization. So on Monday, January 29th, we have a film crew coming in for high school and for the K-8 campus to do an assembly for us and to showcase both schools. We'll turn it over to you.
Any other questions for K-8 before I go? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna try not to be redundant here. But I did want to point out some of those those annual traditions that we sometimes take for granted because they do happen most every year. But at the end of the day, it boils down to the people, and I don't want the people to be forgotten. So the teachers that agree to put those on, everybody that sets up the facility and cleans up afterwards, the parents that ask their children and encourage them to be a part of the band, the chorus, the dance team, etc., and all the support that comes with it. Because again, that's what makes the tradition special, is the people involved in it. One thing that stood out to me this year, and I had the pleasure of being there, was the comeback of chorus. So a special thank you to Mrs. Engel for what she did in semester 1 to be able to encourage those singers to get up there and be vulnerable and put themselves in front of an audience, which I know is not easy to do. A quick enrollment update, and I believe this is already in your board folder. But I just, from the high school perspective, 9 through 12, we've been very steady with enrollment with very little movement during the school year. However, if you look at the comparison to where applications were a year ago, we are down a little bit. And I think we can all draw our own conclusions on that. But the obvious one for me is that the building's already constructed and visible and there. So it's not necessarily the hook that it was last year at this time. But also I think we're working on getting some additional social media and advertising in place that maybe was already moving last year at this time, like the billboard and some other things on the website and social media. So those are in the works, and I expect the numbers to tick upwards from here. I want to make sure that, I shout out 3 seniors that graduated early, and I might need some help with the names. It was Val Woods, Aiden Hinton, and Axel. And I want to make sure that they get recognized. And of course, they'll be at our ceremony in May, but it's always nice when students finish up and they're happy with where they are in December and get out of the door and on with the next stage of their lives. So congratulations to those 3. As far as the transition goes and the opening of the high school, believe it or not, since our last public meeting, we've moved out of Integrity into the high school, out of the high school and back to Integrity, from Integrity back to the high school. And some of you in this room were there to help. And many of us were there to help, and parents were there to help. And we had students there to help. And there were a core of people that were there every time we did it. And I could never come up with the list of names of those people, but I want to make sure that they hear loud and clear that we are grateful, because that was really something. And we couldn't have done it without everybody's help. And maybe we could have, but it would have taken a lot longer, because it was an endeavor. So thank you to all those parties that played a role. The traffic flow maps that were put out there and submitted to DOT have been working pretty wonderful. Mr. Huffines, I hope you haven't had any complaints, but on the campus, it looks good. It's working like a pretty well-oiled machine. Couple of things that we're continuing to overcome logistically and with day-to-day operations is the internet, and perhaps there'll be an update later, but it's getting closer with the spectrum, the high-speed fiber, but there are some real obstacles that our teachers go through. That's a change in their instruction, and what they can do with students in real time while they're sitting in front of them, because the students themselves are not on the internet unless they're ACC or NCVPS students working independently. So it's been the last 3.5 weeks or so have been a little different instructionally, but we know that update is coming soon, and life will resume to normal. Another area of challenge that we're working with, and it really is day to day at this point, is the lunch situation. We've done a couple of things proactively. We've split the lunch so that we don't have all of our high school students at lunch at the same time. Instead, it's lunch A and lunch B. We've also identified 3 locations where they can eat, and those consist of our stadium seating area, otherwise known as the Commons, room 107, which is an open classroom at this time, and the courtyard. Those, I think, implementations have been helpful. The one thing that we're hearing from students and parents to some degree is the need for some tabletops. So we're continuing to work on solutions for that, including getting some more outdoor seating. But as I've communicated to the teachers, if we're unable to make this particular fix work, we can go to a plan B, but the plan B is going to require a lot more daily setup and takedown, and it's going to, just naturally require more human effort and resources. So we're trying hard to manage this one and see if it works. But aside from that, one thing else with opening is, and this is a very exciting thing that Mrs. Knoll's doing in particular, but she's making use of Buttermilk Creek already, and we've only been there just a short time. So she's had her students outdoors, Envirothon and other classes, AP, environmental, taking walks through the winter woods and enjoying the creek, and has aspirations to bring the curriculum alive, which I'm very happy and excited about. And I think that's just the beginning. It's going to take hold with our other teachers as well. But again, given our location and the natural surroundings, I can't wait for teachers to make use of it. The last thing I'm going to talk about here with the opening is we're constantly looking at this new school environment as we get more, acclimated to it, because it is new in the sense of the building itself. We're constantly looking at safety. Today, myself and Officer Bellingham and a lieutenant and sergeant from the Sheriff's Department did take a safety walk, and I gathered their input so that we can continue to adjust and grow, not just drills like lockdown, but also safety mechanisms for tornadoes and other things like that. So their input, I'm going to take that back to the team and adjust our plans as necessary. But just know with everything being fresh and new, we're constantly gathering feedback to make sure everything's the best it can be. Would you like to talk at all about, I'm gonna get to celebrations in a minute, but with walkthroughs? Over the last 3 weeks, Dr. Morris and I have conducted almost 30 walkthroughs already, and we've seen a lot of wonderful instruction. I don't know if you want to share any of the things that you've seen and observed.
Yeah, there have been some, the teachers are really enjoying their space. And you can really tell that the students are better focused and more engaged in the activities, even without the internet. I mean, honestly, it's been kind of a blessing not to have the internet, because some of the things that I've tried and true for years in education, we're seeing the teachers go back to those, and it's almost like it's innovative now because they haven't had to use those strategies in for so long. And so it's been really refreshing being in the classrooms. I know that the teachers, have really expressed a lot of, gratitude and appreciation for their spaces. But just getting back to that good teaching, and it's been great to do as many walkthroughs as we have and see that in progress. So.
Appreciate you sharing that. And then kind of going back to my celebration, between the joint efforts of the school and their finances, as well as athletic boosters, if you haven't been to the upstairs fitness equipment room, it is just a beautiful sight. And very busy, very busy. After school, during school. In fact, Mr. Harper and his band students used it several times already over the last week or so, and we're in there today. So softball, workouts, band, you've got your PE students in there. It's just a culture changer, really. So if you haven't seen it, check it out at the ribbon cutting coming up on Friday. But it's fully stacked right now. You already mentioned National School Choice Week, and that will be it is, and that assembly will be wonderful as we melt the two schools together and have high school come down here and do some performances. But quick shout out to Mrs. Wilson, who's just been carrying this. I don't even know how to put it, but she's a champion for the cause, and she's just carrying it day after day, making sure the word's getting out, communicating with the agency and both campuses. And anyway, I can't say enough about her commitment to make sure that the event goes off without a hitch. And she's probably losing sleep over the fact that the filming crew's coming, and she's anxious about what they're going to film and what the testimonials will be and who they're going to, pick to record. So she's been wonderful with that. One more piece on curriculum, and I really want to speak to this because this is a model that I hold dear to my heart and how I see our mission coming out in action. But this fall, when we were at Integrity, we surveyed the high school students, and it's like a course selection survey based on their interests, figure out what it is that drives them, whether it's, beyond the core classes, local electives, or what ACC offers. And from there, we kind of game plan, like how can we reach these kids? And so based on those interests, we brought ACC in. And one of the groups that came to us back in the fall was the biotechnology group. If you're familiar with ACC, as you go down the interstate, that's that brand new building right there by the overpass. So they kind of dangled a carrot when they came in to say, if you have an interest, you can come on down and tour the lab and do a hands-on activity. So we went back to that survey and identified some students that would like to do that. And this past Friday, we made that a reality. And the reason this is so dear to me is because it's the community aspect. You bring outside partners in to engage, and then we send our people back out. And that interplay is just crucial. So I love that we have that relationship with ACC, and I want to continue to develop that with some other partners as well. I did link in some photos there. Please take a look at those to see not just the hands-on activity, but the tour through their facility, which was pretty amazing. And that brings us up to testing and accountability. Dr. Morris, you have a few things you want to?
I just want to update you guys on kind of where we are with testing. It was great to have that little break in the winter time. We came back, and it was nice to be able to help transition in the high school before my first round of check-ins for this season came in. I've been at the K-8 last week and this week. We did middle school last week, and this week we're tackling 3-5. We have makeups coming up Thursday and most likely Monday, because some of our babies have fell sick. So we've got that going on. We have our semester 2 biology kicking off in the first week of February at the high school, along with our year-long courses taking their second check-ins. We also have our WIDA Access Assessment coming up in February, and that's for our multilingual learners. It's a small number of students, but it's still an assessment that they take to kind of help determine what their needs are and what their strengths are when it comes to language and their ability to perform academically with their language abilities. And then we have the ACT coming up at the end of February, where our 11th graders will be taking that. So the preparation has begun, and we're even looking ahead and preparing for the EOG, EOCs, and AP exams, because as you know, the month of May is test month. So all those things are in the works, and I just want to kind of keep you guys posted of where we are in those.
Okay, appreciate that very much. And this is my last thing here before we close out. All year long, really, we've been talking about assessment data specifically to biology and math 1. So I want to just take a minute to share how everything kind of settled there at the end of the semester when they took their EOC. And thanks to Mrs. Reagan too, who did a data dig, because it's a year over year, semester over semester comparison. And I want to make sure I frame that right. But with math 1 in particular, comparing semester fall of 22 with this past semester of 23, math proficiency score increased by 7%, which is wonderful. That'd be Mrs. Quater. And then in biology, same semesters being measured, proficiency score, Mrs. Leach jumped 26.6%. Yeah, just an incredible jump there, and goes to show just how valuable it is to have a real human being standing in front of you teaching. Because if I'm not mistaken, those other numbers were NCVPS. Yeah.
Wow.
Correct. Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Ms. Barakin, school report card.
So you will see, in your report folder, there is a copy of our school report card from last school year. So you kind of plan based on what you think it's gonna look like, and then you have to wait for the powers to be to actually put their formulas in and then actually release it to everyone. So you get some internal feedback first, and then you gotta kind of wait, because you can't share that. And then finally, they will around October, November-ish, give you the actual final release report card. So we were very anxious about this report card. We were kind of teetering on the line because, there's just changes every year. And so, but we are pleased and happy to announce, this has also already been shared with our families as well, but I thought you guys may want to see this as a copy, that we are still considered a level B school. So we had some pretty tremendous growth last year. So if you look, like I said, at that school report card, and I know it's kind of lengthy, I kind of simplified it so that I could print it, so I could actually have it in my hands. But if you go on that website, it's pretty awesome, because you can type in any public school, charter school, anyone that is tested in the state of North Carolina, and compare us to them. So what's really neat, also what I put in your folder is a table. We had to present some information to the bond investors in December. And so that was pretty neat to actually be able to look at that at our school compared to area charter schools, compared to area traditional public schools. And then we chose a couple of different counties to compare ourselves to, and we did pretty good. And so that was something to be proud of. Of course, we have room to grow in areas of improvement. We use this information to drive our school improvement goals for the school as a whole. But it was very nice to see that we were still in the level B category, or letter grade B. So some great growth there. We actually exceeded growth last year, so that was a pretty exciting point there. And then it just kind of breaks down. I don't have to go to each page for you, but this document right here kind of gives you a summary of kind of how our kids did. And then if you keep going, there's a math performance page at the top that has a pretty bar graph. On this copy that I put in your board folder, I just had us compared to Alamance Burlington. So the biggest thing as a charter school is you have to be at least as good and or better than your local LEA, or you'll get on some bad lists that we want to stay away from. So that's very important for our charter in general. So I thought that was important for you guys to kind of see us in comparison to Alamance Burlington schools, but also to the state of North Carolina. Okay, so that is kind of what you're going to look at there when you see those bar graphs together. They do it for reading and math, and they have science on there as well. They have English on there. It goes up to the high school, so it can kind of show you how we are performing compared to other schools. Other information in there as well, they do track your graduation rate, you know, if kids, you know, graduate in 4 years, or, you know, what happens if they don't graduate in 4 years. So they have a very convoluted formula, that no one can really figure out. Last year, Ms. Reagan and Ms. Ricker got pretty daggone close on the formula, to figure out kind of how we would fare. And they take a lot of different things into account, like your ACT scores and things like that. So, that formula is kind of tough sometimes to figure out exactly how they're going to score those. But they did a very good job of getting us very close. And so again, just kind of a comparison. Again, I put the competitor schools in there for you as well. I think it's important to note, you know, to see kind of how we're doing. It's kind of like a pulse check, to kind of see how we're doing in comparison to our neighbors. So again, very proud of those things. Again, always area for room for improvement. Just truth and transparency. This is a different year. I feel like I've said that every day since we started. It's a different year this year. A lot of changes, a lot of things that are going to be different. You know, additional students. You know, new students come with different backgrounds, and we've had some increased discipline data that's going to go into this as well this year. And so we know that it's an adjustment, you know, coming to our school and being brand new to us. And some of our kids have learned that, hey, this is how it's going to be, you know, and we're having to break some habits and things like that have been learned behaviors over the years. So kudos to our staff, our teachers, administration for continuing to hold our standards very high for our kids, not only in academics, but behavior as well. So again, this document, like I said, is kind of lengthy, but it is kind of interesting, and it kind of gives you a perspective of, you know, kind of how we're doing in relation to our neighbors. But definitely I would encourage you to look at that document, but also look at the comparison data I pulled. That's just the schools we chose to kind of give us a sample. But again, you can go anywhere in North Carolina on that school report site and compare us across the board to other schools. So, any questions about that?
And you got a plan to get us in the A category, right?
These 4 individuals who, yes, they are working very hard. Yes, that is our ultimate end goal. Got a ways to go.
Have faith you'll get there. Okay, so NCDPI monitoring visit.
So this one is a follow-up. So from our last meeting, Dr. Morris they were coming in. She's made some best friends at DPI. And they are just, you know, they are very supportive. I'll give them that. They are willing to help and answer questions, and weird stuff comes up and we're like, how do we solve that? What do we do with that? You know, very interesting things this year, with having just an influx of so many new students, and there's just new things. So long story short, they came in to observe our testing program. So this is the accountability department at DPI. So they came in and then they give us a charter school test coordinator assessment monitoring visit checklist. Okay, and so then there's all of these different things that they came in to look at, and they mark you as compliant or non-compliant. So we get down to the bottom, and the questions was, our comments were, are there any policy and operational concerns? The box was checked no. And it says Karen Morris has done an excellent job in preparing for the pre-ACT administration. All North Carolina policy and procedures were followed. Both the desk review and the on-site visit went very well. So shout out to Dr. Morris in keeping our programs, the fidelity. She's very, very good with that. Her office is like a fortress. It's blacked out. You can't get in there. Everything's locked down. She is
Safety and security first.
Safety and security is first, and she is making sure that our school is in compliance. and making sure that we are doing things the right way, when it comes to all of our testing procedures. So shout out to her and a good job there.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Okay, that moves us into governance. I know we're just coming off of the holidays and everything, so may not have a lot of updates, so that's okay. So governance. Any updates? Finance, I don't think we have any updates there. Academic.
I think we've already heard a lot about the academics and we will be getting new information with check-ins that are currently being given.
And then long range planning.
I mean, it's
Happy to say.
happy to say that we are in the building, finally, so I appreciate everybody's patience. Hard work, teamwork, trying to get us to the finish line. So right now, we're just still wrapping up a few, just kind of like punch list items, just kind of some warranty stuff. Stuff's gonna break, we're gonna fix it, we're still in that warranty period, so we still have good communication, with the GC. They're not going anywhere, they're still on the hook, to, fix everything, make sure everything is going smoothly through the school. So that's, right now, it's just kind of close out documents, all the fun stuff, as-bills, closeout stuff, warranty stuff, just things that, just kind of button up the project. So I'm very looking forward to the ribbon cutting. I hope everybody will be there. I think it's gonna be a fun event. It's gonna be a wet event. But we do have that big old canopy in the front, so if the wind's not blowing, I think we'll be fine. But yeah, I hope everybody's enjoying the campus. It's been exciting to actually see people on the campus now, I'm not seeing orange hats and vests and construction equipment, so it's good to actually see some students in the building, see some educational things going on throughout the building, so. With that, so, I'm probably gonna schedule the next committee meeting to look long range, to other building and some other needs that we're kind of hearing from some of the feedback. So, but with that, obviously kind of the fundraising. So that's pretty much.
Thanks for the segue. Mr. Aiken, fundraising. Thank you, Mr. Price. Appreciate all you've done.
Nothing at this current time, in regards to fundraising, but I think now that we are settled, that's been a really nice thing, to start looking at, because I don't believe that we were in there a minute before people are asking, okay, well, what's next? When did you get in the gym? When did you get, okay, hold on a minute. Can we enjoy this first, just for a minute? But yes, again, Brady and I have actually been talking and working, with some contacts and trying to get some ideas for our school in addition to traditional revenues and things like that. So hopefully this is going to be a great transition now that we are permanently in place.
Sounds good. Thank you. So new business. Now that we're in the building, we can have our grand opening. Do you want to give some specifics on that, Ms. Reagan?
Yeah. So I really hope that it's going to be a big community event. To Mr. Huffines' point, yes, we hope to be outside. Unfortunately, the weather in January has not been in our favor. And so long story short, we do have a backup plan. We have a beautiful space inside that we can use. I've already asked Mr. Harper for permission for the band room in case I need it, just in case. But I think it's gonna be a pretty nice turnout, just based on some of the feedback we've gotten from some folks in the community. I'm hoping that all of our families, our staff, I know it's during the daytime, I know it's some morning and Friday morning, but we are technically closed on Friday for our mental health and wellness day. So I'm hoping that maybe, families that have kids, that they'll bring them and let them check it out. Because this is the first time we're opening it up to the public. So it's out there in the community. We got a couple of advertisements running, with our local radio stations, things like that. So we put them on the calendars, and then been sending out, some invitations. So I'm hoping we're gonna have quite a few guests from the community, political leaders, things like that, but also, folks from the also charter schools and BI and like, it's gonna be exciting. Some of the folks that have helped make this project happen. Definitely gonna shout out those folks and thank them for all of their behind the scenes work, to get us to where we're at, to be in this new building. So, yeah, so we're looking at least, about an hour. We're trying to keep it an hour or less when it comes to the ceremony itself. We got a couple, the Alamance Chamber is assisting in this, event. They also helped us with our groundbreaking. So if you guys remember that, they were fabulous, very organized, have it together, and they're responsible for bringing the big scissors. So they are bringing their scissors and the ribbon, and it's going to be a really good time. So again, got some guest speakers. I did want to make sure that we represented at least some samples of our kids because they are who and why we built this building. In the past 3 years, the trials and tribulations and hurdles that just kept coming, they are the reason that we did it. And so those kids are going to be there. We've got some of our band kids representing. They're going to open us up for our event. And our dance students are going to do a little sample right before the ribbon cutting. And you know, I'm super extra, so you know there'll be confetti, you know there'll be pom-poms, you know there'll be noisemakers. So we're gonna make it a really big deal. It's a really exciting time to finally get to this point. So I am welcoming any and everybody that wants to come. The event, like I said, will start at 9 o'clock. It'll run till about 10, and then we're gonna do tours for anybody that wants it right after that. So about 10:30, we've got some amazing junior civitans, group, high school students that have signed up and volunteered to kind of show some people around. Some of our staff have volunteered to be there that day, and so it's just, I think it's gonna be a really neat and exciting experience, and just kind of a like, let's take it in, you know, and enjoy this moment. So yes, looking forward to it, and I really do hope that all of you can come. Oh, and there will be refreshments, and I'm gonna shout it out here so I don't forget on Friday. But one of the things that Ms. Simmons helped work on was just having some little custom cookies, like we just sample size though, just a sample. But some of our custom cookies, it's got a clover on it, and it was just like specifically made for one of our alumni who's getting started with cookie making business. So kind of cool, like full circle kind of thing. So thank you, Ms. Simmons, for making that happen.
Okay, at this time, anything else for open session? Now, do I have a motion to move into closed session under General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 5? Mr. Huffine, second. Mr. Russell, all in favor? Please note, we've moved into closed session at 7:47 p.m.